Cursed Hollow.
You speak of aggression, and we keep yelling that about COG, but I just want to commend them on their ability to be passive when they need to be with their aggressive strats, if that makes any sense.
No, it does.
They always wait for the opportunity to make it work for them. There was a point in that last game on Sky Temple where there was a fight in the bottom lane, and we saw all of compLexity chasing down COG because they thought it was only a 5v3. There were two people sitting in areas where they could jump out and get to an engagement, and that was all due to the great shot calling by Glarong and his team communicating together.
Absolutely. There was an interview with Cognitive's manager that talked about how Glarong's not afraid to go for a dive without follow-up.
Sure.
So the ability to know exactly, is this going to work or is this too much? It's a very, very fine line for him when he plays these heroes. So great job on being able to tell that for sure.
Well, we can see the bans are going to be Zeratul and Kayle Fast, and the first pick is going to be Cognitive grabbing Jaina. It's all about that assassin meta in this matchup.
Jaina just a great pick on the map, Cursed Hollow, by the way, just so you guys know at home. She has so much poking, so much damage on this map, and again, we just seen her on a majority of comps really bringing people together. She's a great foundation. You can go wombo combo, you can go poke. We've been seeing a lot of builds starting to surface here for Jaina that can fit into any type of composition.
Yeah, and you mentioned poke, and poke is really important on this battleground because you need something that can stop the tribute channels as much as possible while the rest of your team rotates in. And compLexity are going to grab Uther and Lior because they're only 2 picks before the next fan phase. Not showing their hand too much here, but enough to start getting the stable foundation for the rest of their composition.
They got to be feeling good about getting Uther here, though, because Uther did so much for COG in that last game, and having him and Lior, well, that's a rock-solid foundation of a team.
God, I agree with you. Well, looking into COG, they have 2 more picks. Who are they going to pick up here to follow? Potentially, they could grab a couple more warriors as well. But really, I think they want to go with somebody that's pure aggressive. Moving on in, do they want to move into... Wow, they were actually picking up Abathur a little bit quickly here, which could be indicative of them going straight into Illidan.
They may go straight into Illidan. He's not banned this time. They could totally pick him up. We've seen crazy strats, and he's back once again. The Betrayer has arrived.
Man, we saw this earlier, and that's why we saw the respect ban on Illidan in that last game. compLexity said, no, we don't want to fight that. Well, COG's like, well, you're going to give it to us. We're going to take it because of how powerful it was versus Relics earlier in today's tournament.
So we do want to know something. Earlier when we did see Illidan, not to take anything away from Cognitive, I feel like the Relics weren't dealing with it well, right? Every time they got into a fight that they started losing, they would never kite back and put damage on top of Illidan. Now, to be fair, there were a lot of shields and you kind of just want to get away from all that, but I feel like compLexity has a little bit more discipline to deal with Illidan. They'll be able to A, combine any stuns they have to. They should be going for more CC here in the draft if possible. And B, they should be able to kite back and deal with Illidan appropriately. If you leave him alone, let him keep chasing, he will take everyone out.
Speaking of wanting more CC, we do have a Tyrande ban, but look who else we have banned, Jake.
Fight time! No,
it's not fight time.
I should never imitate Brightwing. She has been banned out here, and that is another respect ban. But I love this pickup here. Sylvanas. Now, Illidan's biggest weakness is when he can't cast abilities. Silencing him is a great way to do it. So Wailing Arrow is a very powerful heroic to stop the Illidan's aggression when he dives into battle.
And on top of that, now they've also picked up a new Barak. So they have a very strong front line when it comes to the ability to stun because he has that Impale as well as the Burrow Charge. So it's going to be very nice for them. They have the Silence there. They've got slows too. They have all of the tools they need to be able to deal with that Cognitive. But what else are COG going to throw at compLexity? Because I don't think they're done.
Oh man, we'll see pretty soon here. They do need to pick up a healer, and Rhaegar seems like the obvious choice, right? He pairs very, very well with Illidan. Tassadar is a great pickup as well. It can bring that damage and the shields. I'm kind of wondering about compLexity though. Will the compLexity actually pick up Cocoon here instead of the Locust Choreo Swarm, right? Because it puts out so much damage, allows them to be tanky, but you can actually isolate an Illidan or even a Tassadar and deal with Illidan right away.
He might, but I'm actually just shaking my head in disbelief right now. We're seeing another warriorless composition out of Cognitive. They're going Tassadar and Rhaegar. They're saying, we don't need Brightwing, we can still make this work out. And this is just so very unique. COG really just trusting that Illidan is enough for that front line.
That is amazing. No warrior once again. Here is Rhaegar too, who will be central to making sure that Illidan stays alive with that ancestral healing. Man, what do you think? We're going to get to see another warriorless comp trick.
So just to give you a little bit of thought behind the whole warriorless thought or composition, it's because COG believes that Illidan, if it's playing against Johanna or Leoric, you can dive past them, right? They don't have any instant mobility, so you just get past them, you deal with who you have to, and then you come back and take them out. Without, with Leoric being here, that's definitely possible, but a new rep makes that a little bit harder. The Impales, the Burrow charge that you saw earlier can be great peeling devices. Uther now has a stun. If we wanted to, we could potentially have compLexity pick up a Divine Storm here, just enough to even take out Illidan that quickly. There are options here for compLexity compared to what we've seen before. Yeah,
like you said, the new rep is a great pickup here for that reason. They've got one more hero left at their disposal that they can grab. And I think they're going to go for some more damage. They've already got the double warrior. They have Sylvanas, a more traditional damage dealer, makes a lot of sense, and someone safe. Now, Jaina, she's not an option, but okay.
Okay, yes.
All right. First time today, I do believe we have Asmodean coming into play here. Lord of Sin.
There is no way to actually deal with the laser that will come out from Asmodean that actually will peel Illidan off so darn fast. The only thing that could potentially happen here for COG is they could go for the hunt. And the hunt could be the way that they lock down that stun, but you're not going to use a one heroic just to lock down a stun, right? So I don't know what they're going to do here with diving into an Asmodean. We forgot about him, but he is so powerful against an Illidan diving comp.
Yeah, well, Asmodean is going to be really cool here. I mean, he can get those stacks on the Globe of Annihilation with the help of Leoric rather effectively. But I think we're just about ready for the second game of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, get excited for Game 2 between Cognitive and compLexity.
Moving into Cursed Hollow, we'll see if Cognitive's warriorless, stunless composition can be what it takes to take out compLexity and their Asmodean. We have Cognitive Gaming in blue with Glaurung, of course, on Illidan. Iacona playing Rhaegar, Sylar on our Abathur, Hospital playing Jaina, and Ivy Slime on Tassadar.
And their challengers, compLexity, currently down 0-1. Will be having their roster. It's going to be Jaximus playing as Sylvanas. Hans going to be on Anubarak. Leoric played by Caterpillar. It's going to be Trummel on the Asmodean himself. And Blinks playing the support role as Uther.
Trummel has not selected his level 1 talent yet. Could be Taste for Blood, but we've seen them go Master of Destruction before, go pure sieging. And do you think we'll see that here?
You know, versus Illidan, specking into the All Shall Burn is a pretty cool idea. So I'm actually all for it, but oh, that's so unorthodox. And oh, they're doing it, Gilly.
Oh, Master of Destruction is here, and we will not have stacking for Taste for Blood on Globe of Annihilation, but it makes sense, right? This is a pretty big battleground, so it's hard to rotate between those lanes to try to pick up those stacks.
Look at the damage
output! Oh my gosh!
Wow, so this is really interesting. They have Sylvanas to lock down the structures, and if Trummel channels that laser, well, it's going to fall so quickly. The solo top laner, Abathur, cannot defend this whatsoever.
Oh, Abathur, poor little baby, is doing nothing there. The Sylvanas and the Asmodean. Now, I do like that at least Cognitive realizing this, just going to have to go to a push somewhere else, but I don't think they could out-push that composition, Jake.
It's going to be really tough to out-push it, but Jaina in that top lane can help a little bit, right? It is going to be a 3v1, essentially. Abathur is going to opt to leave this lane pretty soon as it starts to take critical damage, but look at that part, already taking so much damage. As the laser channels, it becomes more powerful over time.
Absolutely, and they can even pick up talent later on that will even increase that amount of power levels so that'll do even more damage. But for now, are they just going to melt this down? There's nothing. There's not. Finally, we get some minions out to push them away. Trummel also low on mana, but that fort is incredibly low.
And you notice he's not really spending a whole lot of mana on his other abilities, saving most of his mana for the All Shall Burn to apply all of that massive structural damage. But we do have Glaurung diving forward, forcing Jaximus back, and we do see Asmodean did Hearth back to base to refill that mana tank.
Well, there's a little bit of a reprieve here for Cognitive, but I have a feeling it's not going to be for very long. Meanwhile, in the other lanes, we do have Leoric and Anubarak. Man, we've got a lot of A names.
Yeah, we do.
It's going to be tough, folks. But yeah, they're going to be able to lane, and they're pretty good at solo laning, especially that Leoric. But then also with Hans here, too, he's picked up the Legion of Beetles, so that's going to be very effective.
So I really like this composition by compLexity in the early game, right? If they can get a lot of additional damage done, they can get the additional experience for their team, and ideally have a nice level lead. But when we get to level 10, it's going to be so difficult for them to take these key fights. But Glaurung getting solo, the Envenom applied to him. The Globe comes out. Double Healing Ward picked up here on the side of Cognitive, and Glaurung is able to stay alive.
Realize the double Healing Ward, I have to feel maybe was like a reaction there for the second one on Tassadar, just to make sure that they have the ability to sustain through these tribute fights. But now Hospital getting caught out here, and this is good for compLexity because we do have a tribute spawning.
All right, we see Glaurung, the front line, trying to go toe-to-toe, but the laser is doing so much damage to the heel just at the last moment, but the dunk just barely misses.
Oh, Glaveron moving back just enough. Very good there, and Tribute starting to be picked up here, but notice that we still have Soak in all of the lanes from compLexity. Very important to them that they continue to stay ahead in the experience like you mentioned.
Okay, well, those towers are starting to fall rapidly. Tassin are trying to shield it. Gonna be all for nothing because the All Shall Burn happens to be too good.
I wonder if maybe Cognitive thinking that they would go for Taste for Blood didn't pick up that, well, these body blocks are pretty insane here, but Trumbull will still be able to get away. Will Jackson be so lucky? Yes. So there's a talent at level 1 that increases the shield on structures for Tassadar. I have to wonder if maybe there was a bit of a wait for Asmodan to try to wait until he picked up the Side Storm just to make sure he didn't get that. Yeah,
you might be right. That's a really cool idea, actually. So really nice play here by the Asmodan compLexity, busting out the crazy strats here, realizing they need to bounce back in this matchup. They currently have a full level advantage with those level 7 talents, and they even went for the cleanse just to make sure even the slows can't stop them in this matchup.
Yeah, there's the laser once again pushing Illidan away. We also did have that talent pick up that increases the power levels too, as well as Sin's Grasp. So that's basically like his version of Envenom. So 2 Envenoms on their team. They do have that ability to have some, burst damage down here in the early game.
Talk about utility. Trumbull able to throw the globe from that far away just to stall out the Tribute a little bit more. Just another great power of Asmodan in this game, and the top port has gone down to the solo push of Kettle here in the top lane.
Already a port down, and not even a curse picked up for compLexity. They are really bringing out the meta strats here to try to get to game number 3 here. Working toward their level 10 heroic abilities. It's starting the push. It looks like it will be in the middle lane.
Yeah, and right now it's really just kind of back and forth, doing additional structure damage to these walls. compLexity always on the aggression, and Colin hasn't really done a whole lot himself. We saw the early damage done in the bottom lane at the start of the game. That's been it. And the rest of the game, Leoric marching heavily in the top, pushing that lane out all the way. I love this.
I do too. And you know what's really cool too is they've had Cognitive so much on the defensive that they haven't even really had the chance to go murking. Normally you would see Illidan doing that by himself, especially once he picks up Immolation at 4, but they've been so much on the back foot trying to stop this early push from compLexity that they haven't even been able to do that.
Yeah, they're realizing that this is their one chance. While this Tribute is picked up, they're just conceding it and trying to get that Bruiser camp in the middle lane, but that's that small window that compLexity has. They're just going to push in and take out these 2 towers, and that's going to get them level 10.
And we have heroic abilities. Will we see Demonic Invasion? Yes, it will be Demonic Invasion for Asmodan, as well as the Wailing Arrow, March of the Black King, Divine Shield, and Cocoon. So that will be nice to be able to take out Rhaegar, maybe take someone down before he can Ancestral Heal.
Looks like it's pretty debated as to who's going to win this matchup, but there's the Demonic Invasion raining down, and the All Shall Burn on this bottom fort. The structural damage is ridiculous.
That is so much structural damage. Already All Shall Burn does extra to structures, but just the fact that they've powered it up so much, it's melting, especially with Sylvanas.
Yeah, the General Hell helping him that too, just buffing up all those minions in the lane, and compLexity shredding through this boss on top of it. It looks like Cog has no idea this is happening, and with the fort already down in the bottom lane, this is a devastating situation.
I like this choice by Cognitive. They know they don't have their heroic abilities, so they can't pick up this Tribute. They know they're going to be cursed, so they're trying to alleviate pressure by picking up the boss on top. compLexity haven't really responded to this. They're just now, I think, going to check. Not sure if it will be in time, though, as Cog have been working on it for a while. We'll have to see. They're getting very close. No, just in time picked up, but will Glaron be able to escape?
All right, that's a small win here for Cog, getting that, using the double healing ward to sustain through this fight as they are all rotating up. But compLexity has that curse, and wow, Illidan gets knocked apart.
Oh, the Wailing Arrow melts the Illidan. Now Cognitive pick up their heroic abilities, but unfortunately, they have a curse against them, and they have Illidan down here, so the defense is going to be tougher. Already this boss starting to work on keep towers, and Cognitive will be able to rotate through, pick up the last fort here or compLexity will be able to pick up the last fort here for Cognitive.
I really can't stress though how big of a deal it was that Cognitive was able to pick up a boss of their own, because this stops a lot of momentum that could have existed on the side of compLexity. From here, they just have to pick up the boss, push out their lanes, and now they have their level 10. Sure, they're 2 levels down, but level 10, it's much better for the team fights here on the side of Cognitive.
Yeah, can you imagine how much harder this push would have been against Cognitive during the curse if Asmodan would have been there on top of it? That would have been incredibly frightening.
I don't want to think about that. That's awful.
Okay, just don't.
All right, well, the Mercenaries being here, picked up on the side of Cole, just continuing to rotate around the battleground, picking things up. 2-level advantage. They have those level 13 talents. Sylvanas, Anubarak still thinking about theirs. It is going to be Crushing Hope on Leoric, and Shrink Ray and Uther. This makes things a bit more difficult for Illidan in the front line.
Absolutely, yeah. The Shrink Ray not only is going to take down the damage that he can do for a time, but also reduce his movement speed, so it's going to be difficult for him to get away. Already, he could be slowed by Leoric, stunned by Nubarak too, but yeah, that Shrink Ray, even more control over that Illidan.
Okay, well, they're starting to push in. It looks like Silo trying to flank there with his clone, but at the end of the day, it's probably just going to be a wasted heroic use. They thought they were going to push all the way in, and they prepared for it, and sometimes that's the risk you run when you use that ultimate evolution.
Yeah, there is Silo going, like you mentioned before, a lot of times people will use it on the Jaina, but Cognitive really do like to have a double Illidan here. Now, they're still going to engage. Here comes the Metamorphosis, and as well as the Archon, they're hopping on to Jaximus, who is fairly low on mana, but still dishing out the damage there. There is the All-Shell Burn, and Illidan's going to mount a Globe, trying desperately to pick up a takedown on Ivy Slime too. He's very low on mana, trying to hit the well just to stay alive, and they'll even be able to bait at the Ancestral Healing just to keep him alive.
The moment they force them past the wall, Trundle is channeling the All-Shell Burn on the towers, and the wall falls like nothing. They're focusing on this keep at the 9-minute-and-a-half marker. It's going to be compLexity taking a keep in this game.
Oh, fantastic job by them. That keep is so incredibly low here. Globe's going to go in to continue to take it down. And they did have shields and the Abathur symbiote, so somehow barely Cognitive were able to defend it, but they don't have a mule to be able to heal it up, so that is permanent damage already on that keep.
You know, I thought for sure they'd get it, but they took the safe route and they just backed on away. And more and more teams are starting to do that. Situations where they might lose 1 or 2 heroes for picking up a keep, is it really worth it? No, Cog's gonna get too much experience in return for that, so they just back on out.
Yes, the rebound experience would have been big. Also, they would have had somebody down, so they couldn't continue their momentum there as much. It would have given time for Cognitive to come back, and most importantly, compLexity is down a game in this match, so they're going to play a little bit safer at least. They really don't want to do anything that could throw away the lead that they've gained.
Okay, well, they're going to pick up this Bruiser camp and make their way over to the Tribute. They're on even talent footing for this moment, still 2 levels down. Cog needs to try to make something happen here and now over the Tribute, but no, they're just conceding it. They just know they have to push up that middle lane because of how weak that keep is.
Yeah, they did a really good job of making that call. They were already up a Tribute, so it wasn't at all an important one there for compLexity. But because of the level advantage for compLexity now, there is the potential that they'll have to give up the next one too, because compLexity could have those 16 talents. So it's very important that Cog get to level 16, get on the same footing before there's a Tribute that would give another curse to compLexity.
It's going to be very difficult, though, because level 16, like you said, is right around the corner here for compLexity, and they've already been on the aggression throughout this game. When you have a talent tier advantage like that, 2 to 3 levels up in experience, oh, that's the time you want to fight. But Glaurung going forward. The Abathur has cloned Illidan as well, so double Illidan, but doesn't matter. So much damage being thrown out. Metamorphosis has been used very early in the fight, and we do see the Wailing Arrow going up, connecting there on Tacitor, doing so much damage. Divine Shield keeping that Asthma alive, burning through the clone. But now the Archon chasing Trundle out. There's a beautiful Ancestral Heal. Will keep Glaurung standing, and with the Abathur has the damage output, I think Cog might actually have a favorable fight. No, I am completely wrong.
That skeletal swing to the face of Illidan, and he was gone. Iacona now trying to run for his life, as is Hospital, but she's slowed, and there's the Drain Hole pulling away the health from Jaina. She will go down. Only Abathur and Rhaegar remaining, and Demonic Invasion immediately drops.
As soon as things look like they're going well, Leoric ruins everyone's day. The skeletal swings are hurting so much. The Crushing Hope, he's really specking into the Drain Hope, and I love that in this build. And now with that advantage, the middle keep does go down, and they're working on the aggressive boss on the side of Cognitive game.
Yeah, and this is, they could easily, oh, they're gonna back off here. They see the vision. The far sight there from Rhaegar did show it, and they, even though Jaina was down, not quite comfortable with going for it because they also didn't have Sylvanas, but they're not content to let Cognitive have any advantages either. So they're kind of willing to let Cog try to go for this, and then they would try to stop it, jumping in on them when they get low.
That is far too risky for Cog to do. 3 levels down, fighting in that throw pit. But this is kind of like a last-ditch effort. Constantly getting vision with that far sight, like you mentioned. An uncommon pickup for Rhaegar, but it's been doing a lot of good for them in this game.
Yeah, it really has. They really need to be able to see those rotations there because of the fact that you know, if they rotate onto structures, they're going to take them out instantly. But now we have another battle as Metamorphosis has started into a Wailing Arrow, though. And already we see Hans chasing down Flower. He's getting fairly low, and the Ancestral Heal has to come out. Ivy Slime in the back, fairly low, but trying to throw out his ability with Archon. But Jaina will go down. Now the Divine Storm, the Dimensional Shift, just barely keeping him alive. But a dunk will take out Tassadar.
Beautiful dunk there. I mean, once you spec into All Shall Burn and pick up Marstrupson, no one is safe. Just crab walking forward, burning through the health bars of Jaina, and then sealing the deal on Tassadar with that dunk. This Asmodee is absolutely decimating Cognitive.
We saw them use it once before in the ESL playoffs, but obviously they know it. They've practiced it more because they are rocking it here. Now they did get cursed, the beauty of Abathur to be able to deep tunnel in and pick up that tribute. So they will start to look to protect their structures here. Not going to try to get a win right off the bat.
Yeah, this is just a really tight spot here for Cognitive. They're cursed. They will be cursed soon at this rate. And, oh, they are cursed right now, excuse me. We have this boss marching down here while they're picking up yet another boss on the battleground. Yeah,
once you have that boss, you can, one boss, generally a lot of teams like to rotate through and pick up the next one. And since they're melting it so incredibly quickly, it's really nice too that they are cursed, and really it's just a defensive curse from Cognitive. There's nothing they can do with it. They can't push. They had a boss pushing against their keep. They had to defend that. They weren't even able to defend this boss, and now there's another boss. No reprieve for Cognitive. The only nice thing is that they picked up 16.
16 is nice, but oh, they're constantly on the defense in this matchup, and compLexity is almost 19. A 3-level lead is astronomical in Heroes of the Storm, and Cog is really on the back foot.
I like the pickup of Icy Veins, though, that for Cognitive, at least they are able to get some more damage out of Jaina. And it does seem like compLexity has really been favoring trying to take out Illidan first. So they do feel like they are okay to not pick up the Ice Block, really confident in their positioning to be able to pick that up.
Yeah, the other really cool thing about this is, like, you're like, oh, well, if Asmodee is the one ruining them, like, destroying them in these matches, you should just focus Asmodee. But he actually has one of the highest health pools in the entire game. And every time they try to focus him, Divine Shield comes out at the last moment, and then the whole team is just taking way too much damage in turn.
Yeah, he's almost like a third warrior for them. He's so incredibly tanky. So now we've got the push. Wow, this lower keep is about to go down now too. And compLexity have basically put Cognitive so on the back foot that they're just having to sit in their base and try to defend the keeps that they have. And that's not going to work for forever. They're eventually going to have to get out here. That looks like they want to do just that right now.
All right, nice Haunting Wave, getting Jacksonus out of there. The Wraith walk up the Orc will allow him to escape as well. Just the constant pressure, right? The General of Hell can be cast across the battleground, push out a lane. The Beetles that are summoned by a new Barak, constantly marching forward as well. I mean, look at this. They're in their base every single moment, it seems, pushing out minions.
Right, and that gives compLexity time to rotate around, steal some mercenary camps, grab their own, even just push the lanes that Cognitive are not currently trying to defend. So they're everywhere that Cognitive are just not, which is, you know, pushing the lanes and getting them push.
All right, well, they found Leoric a bit on his own, and Illidan diving forward with that hat, but here is the rest of the team. Glara backing away as soon as that channel of the All Shall Burn is on him.
I liked Glaurung's use of the Metamorphosis earlier in a fight in order to break that channel of the All Shall Burn. So we could potentially see that again in a fight, and it's a very good use of it.
It is, but so far it hasn't worked out enough for them. 3 levels down, 8-1 in terms of the takedowns, and level 20 has just been reached here on the side of compLexity, granting them those Storm talents.
Let's see what they've picked up. We have 2 Bolts of the Storm for Asmodee and Sylvanas. Rewind for Nubrek, so more stuns and more control. The Orc still undecided, but we do have Redemption for Uther, so now it's going to be even more difficult to take out of the fights.
All right, well, this tribute almost available compLexity going to be picking up, putting their count at 2. And at this point in time, I mean, I don't know what COG can do. They're on the back foot constantly. They need to soak so much experience to get those Storm talents themselves. If compLexity oversteps their bounds, that's Cognitiv's best chance in this game. But this bottom keep is falling so quickly.
Look at that All Shall Burn. We're going to have a fight as Archon comes in here too. Hospital coming around from the side, trying to get the flank in and throw out her damage as much as possible. The Cocoon is going to take her that right away. Already Ultimate Evolution is down. We've got stuns on top of Glaurung, but he's so far being able to deal enough damage that we do have the Divine Shield coming out here, but he's starting to have to go back. Ivy Slime so incredibly low. The All Shall Burn pushing back Glaurung.
Yeah, nice rotations here at this, thus far in this fight. Cog just going in and then slipping on out, but they're not able to ever get a kill. They're just too much tankiness. They try to go for Sylvanas. Guess what? You don't have any stuns. She's just going to slip away, and that's the only target that isn't hyper tanking on the entire team's composition.
But competitive are at least doing well enough to be able to get back out of fights because they know that if they lose a team fight here too much, compLexity are just going to walk in and take out their core. So at least the fact that they've been able to sustain through that, they're getting closer to their Storm talents, although they still don't have them here, and we have a very important tribute fight. This could be the moment that compLexity need to finish out this game.
All right, Farsight gets eyes on Cattle and Trummel, but this tribute could grant another curse to compLexity, which means Cog has to make a decision and go in immediately. A lot of splash damage being done from Sidestorm and Blizzard, but is it enough? Glau backing up, one healing word, throw down. There's the second, and Glau is in the front line, wailing away at Cattle, but Hardened Shield being used. The clone will dissipate, and Cattle is backing out of the fight with a beautiful impale going out from an Uberak.
Glaurung is trying to wreck. He's got the Metamorphosis, but there are stuns into stuns. Jackson still has to Haunting Wave out, and Illidan will go down. That's such a central part to the composition of Cognitive, and now compLexity are picking up the tribute and knowing that without Illidan, Cognitive immediately have to back off.
I don't know if they can defend this push. Only the top keep remains for them, and they will be cursed for the next full minute. It is going to be a hero advantage with Illidan down right now, but they're doing so much damage, they might get the kill. Yes, that is Uther that falls in this fight.
Lynx is a nice one, though, to lose for compLexity because he does have that redemption, so he will be back up. And compLexity want to be able to get a boss, to push with the boss into the core, knowing that even if Cognitive choose to attack them, the boss will still work on the core because it will go straight there. The keep already down in boss.
Yeah, the boss we picked up rather quickly here. There it is. The curse will expire in another 30 seconds, but that's plenty of time, and the shields are already almost down on the core here of Cognitive. Gilly, I think we're going to be going to a Game 3 very soon.
I think you may be right. It will come down to the wire for both of these teams as it's getting very, very close, and we don't see compLexity pushing with this boss right away. They're just trying to distract, maybe trying to heal back up before they make the push of that boss, knowing that the shields already were taken down a lot on the core.
Yeah, 92% for the core. The boss sitting about 80% of its health, and the entire team is pushing on in here. An Uberak, Asmonin a little bit behind. Jaximus gets the heal that he needs, and they're pushing on in. Shrink Ray was used a big Metamorphosis, but I don't think it matters. The core is falling rapidly, and we're going to a third game here in this match.
I wouldn't have our final series of the day in any other way than going to a Game 3, and I cannot wait to see who will take this and move out of this group.
Man, I gotta say, compLexity played them so intelligently. I loved it. They played the map and they played the strategy to the fullest potential that they could. And it seemed like Cog couldn't do anything against it. They tried, they had some crazy strats that they tried to pull off,